going on, everybody? Zion Racing Team, Wilson here. Another edition, another video. Just want to make sure you guys follow us on Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe, like, let us know what you think. Send out any comments, anything you guys want to know. Also, our sponsors, JNS Performance, Car Wash Genie, and Boom Design, our partners. You can look them up also on Instagram. They have a page. Follow them as well. And right now we're going to do the unboxing of the Maxpeedingrod coilovers. I hinted towards it last time. Now we're going to go ahead and open it up for you and let you see exactly how it is and what comes. Alright, got that squared away. Open it up. Nicely packaged. Use the car for a little leverage there. Take away the phone. Check it out. This thing's individually packaged. Maxpeedingrods. You can check them out online. It's relatively inexpensive and for decent quality. Simple design. Everything's included. Full coilover. Give you the customer service card there. And just to kind of show you, you got each coil assembled there. Just saw here are the keys to raise and lower the suspension. Show you how that's done in a minute. But here's one assembled coil. So you see, this is what they consider a coilover suspension if you're not familiar with it. Basically, it allows you adjustment of height rather than a regular coil spring, which only gives you one set height. This one, based on how you raise and lower it here, will give you the height adjustment of what you're going to want your vehicle to be. This is a complete set, comes with the mounts for the top and everything, so you don't have to put your own on there, buy factory ones or whatever. This one comes with its own. You'll see there it's etched Maxpeedingrods. Everything here is built to just bolt right in, so you just take it and bolt it right to the car. Take the one off, and we're gonna obviously show you that process, but pretty cool design. Bump stops, everything's are included. You don't have to do anything to this other than take the one out of your car and put this one in. Sounds a lot easier. It takes a couple steps, but it's actually a lot simpler than you think. Alright, everybody, got the car up on the jack stands, got the wheels off. I'm gonna go ahead and show you real quick what you're working with here. So that's the actual suspension that's in there right now, coil spring with a shock, you'll see there. So basically you got a bolt here that you're gonna take off, and then from what I've seen on videos online about this car, they said they recommend removing the sway bar end link, or at least taking this portion of it off, because probably one of the easier ways to get this off is to go ahead and take off the long bolt, which is this bolt that goes from side to side. You're gonna hold one end and then you're gonna loosen from the other one. Obviously this plastic is gonna have to come off in order to access it better, but they said that once you take that bolt and you free it, take it out, then the suspension becomes loose. You hold the whole spindle and everything with the jack, and you're able to lower this and pull it down enough so that when you do pull off the bolts on top, which are these here, these two bolts here, when you do pull those off and free up the whole spring, you have enough space to pull it down and bring it out so that you can install the new one. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking that apart, and then I'll show you how it looks after I've removed it, or I'm to the point of removing it. And then for the rears, it's almost the same procedure, a little different. You see the shock there. They say this one usually has enough space to clear. As you see, there's more room here for that. So you basically are going to unbolt it from here and then you can usually push this down enough to where it'll give you enough space to pull it out. If not, I'm sure you can remove this bolt here, make the spindle free, and then same thing with a supported jack. You can lower it enough to free this up. You unbolt it from the inside. Now from the inside here in the trunk, to access this side, you're gonna have to take off this panel, just a couple 10mm bolts, and then you'll be able to access the tube for there. And then for this side, you're gonna have to remove the spare tire. When you remove the spare tire, you'll have access to the 2 bolts in there. So I'll show you how that is when I get to that point, but for right now, I'm gonna get back to work. All right, everybody, so basically I got the plastic down that I showed you. It goes under the whole thing. I had to put some PB Blast on the bolt. It was a little rough to get it out, but I was able to get it out. When I did start to push it back, I noticed that for the sway bar, the 2 bolts that are on the sway bar here, they actually hindered the bolt from pulling all the way out. So as soon as you take out those 2 bolts, then the bolt will freely move out of the way, which will free up the upper control arm. And then when you lower the jack and move this out of the way, it gives you enough space to remove the coil. And here's the coil that I took out. You have 17mm bolts down here, 14mm bolts up here. The 2 for the sway bar over here were 12mm bolts. This long bolt is 22, let me see, no, it's a 21, sorry, 21mm bolt. So you need a 21mm wrench to hold on one side, and then your 21mm socket. I have like a double extension kind of deal going on here to remove it with my impact on the other side where the nut is, and that'll free that up, and that's it. So now I am going to compare this one with the Maxpeed coilover, that Maxpeedingrod's coilover one that I have. I'm going to match this ride height, and then based on this ride height, I will then be able to see how much more I want to lower the car. I took some measurements on how far the frame was from the ground and everything before I started the job, so that I kind of had a reference point to guide me. But you know, just as a basis, I'm going to match this one, and then from there I'll be able to see how much lower I want to go with the setup that we have, because we have stock wheels and stock tires. We may not be able to go as low as we want until something hits, and we don't want to damage anything else like the frame or the exhaust system or anything. So that is how it came out. Relatively easy, didn't take that long, maybe like 20 minutes if that. The longest part was actually, like I said, putting some PB Blast on the bolt, because it is an older car and it was a little tough to get it out. But that's that one. I'll go ahead and show you when I put the coilover on and how it looks in there. Everybody, I got the fronts on. Almost forgot to show you. That's how it is. I did 1.5 inches just to check it out there. I thought 1 inch would be too little. I did 1.5 inches. Everything's bolted back up. You got your bolt there. The long bolt is back in place. The sway bar 2 bolts are back, and everything's back in order there. You see up here where you can adjust it. These 2 14s are nice and tight, and this would be the adjustment for the dampering that I was speaking of earlier. For right now, we're going to leave it. And that's the passenger side. Here's your driver's side. Same thing, all buttoned up, squared away, bolted up, everything good. Now I moved on to the back. This is how it was normal, right? And then this is it with the spring taken out. So I did have to remove the bolt for here in order for this to have some play. I removed the bolt for the strut itself. Though that one was a 17, these were 14s, and I actually had to loosen right here. I'm not sure if you can see too good. Right here where this rear sway bar is, I had to remove that bracket so that the sway bar had some play, and I was able to get a little bit more, you know, movement in my arm here so that I can get the spring out. And then remember I told you earlier you had to remove the spare tire, and the 2 bolts 14 millimeters were right there. And then here's the removed plastic. You see the fuel filler neck right behind that is where you'll see the bolts for the strut there, and those are 14. So when I get on that side, I'll be doing that. This is the strut that came out. That's how it looks, same as the front. And I'm gonna go ahead and measure up the rears and then do the same thing I did in the front, and I'll get back to you. Up, all back to normal. That's how it looks in the rear. Plates are back in, spare tire is back in. Everything's all good to go again. Nice and bolted up. Now comes the test of time when we lower it to see how it ended up. Guys, so I'm kind of calling it quits for tonight. I didn't get it exactly how I wanted to. The front is a lot lower. The measurements that I took weren't right, the right way to lower it. I did it, but I didn't do it afterwards, and now I got to take them off again in order to lower it more how I want to. So for right now, if you can see, the backs are pretty much almost stock, maybe a little bit lower, but the fronts are a lot lower. For right now, that's what I'm just going to stop with, and I'll go ahead and make another video when I do take them back off and lower them again. Just been at it all day, and I got a couple other things I got to do, so got to call this video quits. But I appreciate you guys checking it out. Remember, Zion Racing Team, follow, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you want to see, any questions you have. Take care.